As soon as we got off the air yesterday, I'm driving home and I'm listening to Ike, Spike, and Fritz down in Clearwater, and they're starting their Philly show. Mm-hmm. And then I hear Jack say, "Well, we got some breaking Eagles news." And I'm like, "Uh-oh, what's going on?" And the news came down. The Philadelphia Eagles have given Saquon Barkley a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension, making him the NFL's first $20+ million year running back, putting him here now for the next 4 years through age 31. That's a lot of money. And first thing I'll say is if anyone's going to get a raise based on the season he had, it's Saquon. He was amazing. And I think there's probably a segment of the Eagles who felt like they should do this to keep him, feel rewarded and happy, and he earned it and all those kind of things. And we'll see how this thing goes from here. And one thing we don't know yet, Hugh, we're going to find it out as time goes on. I don't know. I know there's been some stuff out there. I don't know yet, and there's nothing concrete yet on what this does for the Eagles' salary cap. Some people believe this is going to save the money, maybe. Some people believe actually will increase his cap number this year. I don't know. That's not fully out there yet, but here's what we do know, Hugh. They have committed to Saquon. He originally had a 3-year deal, so he would have had 2 left. Now he's got 4 left on the deal. Hugh, first reaction, and really, was this a smart thing for the Eagles to do?
Okay, I'm going to ask you a first question. I think it was. But commitment. That word, when you use that word, Joe, it kind of jumped out to me for a minute. And if I'm being honest, it kind of validates what I've been saying to y'all for 3 whole years.
Here we go.
I mean, because read the tea leaves. See, Kyle don't want me to get it out. Defense is a luxury, not a necessity. Now, let me tell you why. And I know some people that go, yeah, what are you talking about? We sat here for the last couple of days. People follow me on this, on my logic here, and tell me I'm wrong. We sat here and we talked about Zach Bond's contribution compared to Saquon Barkley's contribution.
Both very high. Very high contributions. Yeah.
And we talked about the fact that, we don't want Zach Bond to leave. The Eagles did not have to give Saquon Barkley any more money.
They did not.
But they chose to. And Zach Bond still doesn't have a job. Now, to your point, this is still a fluid situation. But on the surface, when you look at it, they put their money towards what they felt was their priority. Like I've been always saying, defense is a luxury, not a necessity. And that's what that says to me. And I know this is, like I said, it's still a fluid situation. But at the end of the day, there was no immediate threat of Saquon Barkley going anywhere. You could have signed Saquon Barkley at any point. You're allowing Zach Bond to sit there and test the waters of free agency. Nah, I get it. It's all about, they don't want to set the market. And I said that yesterday. But look and see how the Eagles are moving. Look how they moved. And that, to me, says a lot.
Well, it says a lot of things. I mean, it does say they wanted to commit to Saquon. It says they wanted to reward Saquon. It says they want to be known as an organization that if they feel a player is underpaid, they'll actually fix that and pay them more. And those are all wonderful things. But I'm going to use a phrase that you use a lot, Hugh. Can I have a minute to maybe long talk? And
long talking is yours, bro.
Well, maybe also be the drunk uncle at the barbecue. Can I? Look, I'm not mad at the Eagles, and I am happy for Saquon because he just gave them one of the greatest seasons in the history of the franchise. So if he's got more money in his bank account, good for him. He's earned it. He's a tremendous football player. But this isn't a smart thing to do. He's a running back. I mean, I was listening to a lot of the reaction yesterday and today, and I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Like, hold on a second. You said it very well, Hugh. They didn't have to do this. They had him here for 2 more years under contract. As in his age 28 and 29 seasons, that's what he was under contract for right now. They added his age 30 and 31 seasons at huge salaries. We know this. Running backs at the age of 29, 30, we know what happens.
They usually fall off the cliff, but they didn't care.
They didn't care. They wanted to reward him.
They didn't care because of his contribution.
But that means to me, the way you're saying it, the way I'm feeling it, is they are paying him for past production more than probably what he will be in the next few years.
And you know what
that's not usually smart.
You know what the irony of that is that we're talking about a guy, and I'm not taking anything away from Saquon because I think this is great for him. But we sit here, and we saw in 1 year what Zach Bond was, and he was a difference maker, just like Saquon. But we're sitting here, and the Eagles are basically saying from their actions that, hey, we don't know if this was an anomaly or something else. Everything that I talked about yesterday, we don't know if this was you were just another cog in the wheel and you benefited from being around a lot of other great players. Saquon Barkley is getting paid for what he's did in the past. And Zach Bond is still looking for a job for what he did this year. What have you done for me lately type situation. Well, I get it, though. Yeah. Saquon Barkley, and there is no doubt in anybody's mind, because it's been said by everybody on this team, how much his contribution meant
totally
to this team. So, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, I got to go ahead and, it kind of validates what I've been saying for a while. Well, even though it's lonely. Sure it's lonely. It's lonely on this hill. That's all I'm saying, man. I mean, hey, you don't have to agree with me, but it's lonely here sometimes being the only person that's a visionary. Visionary.
So
you know what I'm hearing here? This was smart because it makes you look smart.
Yes.
No. This was not smart. He's 28 years old. They took him under contract through age 31 as a running back.
You know what has happened with Saquon Barkley? And thanks to all the people that when I tweeted out the picture yesterday, because they re-released or they're re-releasing some shoes that he had with the Giants.
Yeah.
They're basically the Bo Jackson, but they're Saquon Barkley's. Man, you know how much they selling them things for? A lot more money than I'm willing to pay. Too much money. But that's, and I get it. That's offensive players. That's what people gravitate towards. And listen, what Saquon Barkley has done, Saquon has, with the move that was made yesterday and the season that he had last year, he has gotten running backs. Or he's going to get running backs paid.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah,
he has shifted the paradigm in the NFL. Him, and I'm not taking shout out to Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry was a part of that. But when you look at the contribution that Saquon made, he has shifted the paradigm in the NFL.
He has. And look, that's great for him, great for running backs. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of the Eagles, and I'm like, all right, it was nice of you to do, but was it smart? 215-592-9494. A couple things that will take all your phone calls in this, because there was a lot of reaction, yeah, go Saquon and go Howie and all this. And I'm like, hold on a second.
You said go Saquon and go Howie.
Hold on a second. Saquon's awesome right now. And I have no idea how long he'll be awesome for. And let me give you an example of
what you got.
Well, we just watched this last year, right? The 2023 NFL season. The offensive player of the year, the guy that touched the ball more than anybody else. His name was Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
he was
fell
great.
off.
And the Niners, you know what they said before last season? They said, you know what? You did so well. We're going to give you a new contract and make you the highest paid running back ever. And last season, Christian McCaffrey played 4 games. And I have no idea if he's ever going to be the same again, because that's the history of running backs when they get hurt and they get into their late 20s and early 30s. So let's hope that doesn't happen to Saquon, but I have no idea. And again, he was here for 2 more years, no matter what they did.
Yeah.
They chose to add 2 more. So last season, there were of the 60 running backs that were over 30, 0 of the top 60 rushers in the NFL were over 30. Let me say that again. 0 of the top 60 runners in terms of yards last year were over the age of 30. The Eagles just committed huge money beyond the age of 30 for a running back. He had 482 touches last year.
You know why they did it?
To make you look smart?
No, they didn't do it because that's how much they feel that he meant to this team.
I agree with that. But you didn't have to pay him.
No, you didn't. And I'm not arguing that, Joe. But it was smart on their sense, because now when you look around that locker room and guys look at that, they'll be like, wow, he got paid for that kind of contribution. That kind of lifts everybody. So that kind of makes everybody look at like, damn.
That's a fair point. That maybe guys look at if I perform,
I look out, you get looked out for.
So, and it's 2 years in a row, because last year they gave AJ a new contract with 2 years left on his deal. Now they gave Saquon a new contract with 2 years left on his deal. So Hugh, that's an interesting way to look at it, that other guys will say, if I outperform my deal,
I will be rewarded.
It's almost the opposite of the T.O. thing, who felt, and he was right, he outperformed his deal, and Joe Banner said, no, we're not touching this thing.
Do you know how many old heads that are jealous when they look at the money that Saquon got and how appreciative he is of that? It's one of those things, man, where they look at him. He's had over 500 carries this year. And the way that he was the glue for this team that brought them back together, you know what he's getting paid for? He's not just getting paid for his on-the-field contribution. It's those unquantifiable intangibles that I was trying to tell y'all about. But that's what he meant to this team, dog. I mean, sometimes it makes no rhyme or reason.
Well, that's the way I feel. Like I get it, but they had already given him a big contract last year. They didn't need to go into his 30s.
No, they didn't.
And they chose to.
But guess what? They did.
They did. 215-592-9494. Where do you come down on the Saquon extension? It's a lot of money. He will go into his 30s here in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. Look, I hope he plays at the level he did last year for the next 4 years. I don't know if that's even possible. He had 482 touches last year, but he's here for a long time now. Your reaction as the Eagles give Saquon the biggest contract ever for a running back. Let's hear the reaction on NFL Network as it came down yesterday. Ian Rappaport talking about the deal and what the Eagles did.
Look, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, this is something that they have done. Remember last year, around the time of the draft, they locked in A.J. Brown, who still had several years left on his contract, to a deal that made him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Now do the same to Saquon Barkley. There's a lot of reasons to celebrate. In Philly, no doubt they'll celebrate some of the new cap space they get with this deal. They will also celebrate not having to look for a new running back for quite a while as Saquon Barkley cashes in on another new contract.
Yeah, he cashed in all right.
Does it save cap space, though?
We don't know. So there's a lot out there. I know a lot of people assumed that it does save cap space. We're going to have Elliot with us at noon today. Elliot's usually on top of the salary cap stuff and like what the moves they do are actually doing to the salary cap. When I asked him this morning before we went on the air, I said, are you sure this saves space? He said he's not sure. Okay. So if that comes out during the show, like literally what it does to the salary cap, we will tell you. I'm just, I don't know yet, so I can't use that and say I'm against this because it hurt them salary cap-wise. I'm for it because I don't know yet. It doesn't feel like smart business to me to be paying a lot of money for running backs in their 30s. The Eagles chose to do it yesterday when they didn't have to. 215-592-9494. Kyle, what are you thinking here? As we said, we wanted a loud offseason. This was loud. It wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But the Eagles give Saquon a huge big money extension. Smart or not?
It was polite. And
it was nice.
Yeah,
it was kind.
Thank you, Saquon. I'm fully on board. Like I think Saquon himself deserves it, but from an Eagles standpoint, it does sort of set, I think, a dangerous precedent in that now other people think they should also get thank you checks from the Philadelphia Eagles if they have a good season. And now I understand the idea that other players might look and say, hey, if I go to the Eagles and have a good season, they'll reward me. But how far can you go with that? Because you are supposed to pay players for future performance, not necessarily past performance. And I love Saquon, and I can't say enough great things about the season he had. But if we're being honest about this whole thing, is that going to be the best season that he ever has in an Eagles uniform? Probably.
Yep.
And if we're talking about having this guy till he's 32 and he's making $20 million or something every year, like he's the highest paid running back in the league, that's a lot, man. And and without knowing whether it saves the Eagles any money on the cap to, I'm singularly focused on getting Myles Garrett here. I don't know if this helps that. It seems to me that if I'm to trust our resident capologist, Elliot, that, if it does save the money, it's marginal at best. So I can't while I love Saquon and I get everyone loves Saquon, I can't go and throw a parade for giving Saquon money because I need to know that this helped the Eagles.
I can throw a parade, though.
Yeah, but you think this validates you.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Wait a minute. How doesn't it? How doesn't it? We sat here for the last couple of days. Y'all browbeat me talking about the Zach Bond and how he contributed and how he's just as important.
Yeah. Well, because you're not waiting for the bigger picture to paint itself, Hugh.
Oh, no, I don't have to.
What if they save money and they get Myles Garrett and he's higher paid than Saquon? Then you're wrong again all of a sudden.
The first move was already made.
Who cares what the first move is?
No, it's always about the first. This is a chessboard.
Yeah,
it's all about the first move.
This is moving a pawn.
No, potentially
take out the king.
This is a chess move.
You guys are playing Candyland, all right? It's ridiculous.
All I'm saying is, like I've been saying forever, which I got ridiculed for, I had to wear a green beard for being right.
I just think
it goes back to that.
What you talking about?
I just think you're jumping the gun a little bit.
I am not jumping the gun.
You absolutely are. You were waiting for one move that all of a sudden said.
You know who jumped the gun? The Eagles. You know what we talked about for the last couple of days?
They shouldn't have.
You know what we talked about? Oh, we got to sign Zach Bond. They didn't feel like he was that important. They probably still will sign
hold on.
him, though.
But at the end of the day, if this does end up making money so that they can bring in Zach Bond,
it's inconclusive.
then okay, there we go. There we have it.
Well, I mean, at some point we had to get there. Yeah, chestnut checkers, inconclusive. I'm going to keep this very simple. We're paying a lot of money to a running back when he crosses over the 30 threshold.
In an era where running backs were considered dinosaurs at one point.
I guess
now
it's a Jurassic
the resurgence,
Park.
what was it, with all the young running backs coming out?
Yep.
Joe, like I'm kind of spitballing a little bit, but check this out. There probably is going to be. I was going to say 5, but I'm going to pull that number back a little bit. There's probably going to be 3 to 4 running backs taken in the first round.
I think you could be right on that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be, and I'm talking about top 10.
Woo!
There might be, like, Ashton Jeanty he might crack the top 5.
You might be right. All right, 215-592-9494. The Eagles gave Saquon a huge extension 1 year into his deal. We're all happy for him. That's not the reality of it. Like, great. I mean, he's a great Eagle, and look what he did last year.
It's just like, what the deuce?
But why? And was this a smart move? I don't think it was smart. Where do you come down?